Here we are again. Harley Smith, the undisputed hydroweight champion and organic mechanic with Kelp4less.com. We're kind of going to pick up where we left off at our last episode, talking about living water and the fungi and bacteria delivery system we have. And so I'm glad you're here because I have some test data that I want to run by you and get your insight on, because to me, it all shows very good. But I may need some help deciphering some of this stuff based on some of the data I got back. So I want to know if I could just run that right by you.
Run it by me. Sometimes I have to kind of study things a little bit too when reports, but I'll do the best I can. At least
Okay,
let's just put this. I'll just give you my initial impressions.
you bet, you bet. And then I'll just email you some of these reports too, so you can kind of study them and bring up any things that you see maybe next week.
Okay, sounds
But
good.
yeah, the base, I'm real excited this morning because the the base of what I've collected data wise over the last week or so has been very informative, and it looks very, very good. So I'm just going to break down what has happened. So
Good.
we have a customer. He has 3 farm fields. We did the field in the middle with our living water formulations for 1 crop cycle. Okay.
Okay.
And so anyway, we pulled before and after soil tests on each field and before and after biological assay tests on each field. So it's random samples collected throughout each field. And so in all areas, we collect soil, mix it all together, and then we send it in for the reports. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not 100% firm believer in soil reports that way, as far as it gives you the entire picture of what's going on, but it's kind of a good roadmap.
Mm-hmm.
Because these are 130 acre fields, so they're rather well. But on our test field, compared to the 2 control fields or the 2 check fields, listen to these numbers. In our biological assay, we had a 65 increase in total bacteria counts compared to the control, a 398% increase in total fungi. We
Wow.
had a 204% increase in fungi bacteria ratio compared to the other fields. And get this, this is what really stands out, a 943% increase in protozoa. Wow. So
Okay.
as I'm going down these lists, I mean, this has to be, this is kind of monumental in my opinion. And I'll just keep going down the bioassay list here. 185% increase in biological carbon per acre. And so to me, I interpret that as the humus.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. And
I
that's
see
huge.
that.
185% increase, a 93% increase in biological nitrogen pounds per acre, or the amount of microorganisms microorganisms we have that can increase the nitrogen cycle in the soil. A 93% increase.
Yeah,
And
Brandon.
yeah, yeah.
One part of that that's I often overlooked is with the protozoa and nitrogen, because the bacteria rarely die of old age. They're consumed by the protozoa. And then the protozoa uses some of the nitrogen in the bacteria for their needs, and then they spit out the excess, and that is available nitrogen for the plants. So we're sequestering and releasing nitrogen, not just by nitrogen fixers, but by
Uh-huh.
the process of them ingesting it and then um, sequestering the nitrogen so it doesn't just wash away like it would in the other fields, and making it more available right now. And most of that's going to happen on the roots of the plants, because that's where most of the bacteria are. So just wanted to make that as a point. Yeah. So
Oh no,
go
keep
ahead,
plugging in. Keep plugging in anywhere you see fit, because I need your help interpreting some of this stuff. The basic concept and knowledge and the diversity I understand, but when it comes down to the key points, this is your insights golden. I appreciate it. Really helpful.
Yeah, because remember nitrate nitrogen that you're probably
Mhm.
putting on other fields, very water soluble. So you
Mhm.
get one good rain. I mean, it's in the stream or below the root zone. Well, here with the biological system, it's 90, probably 95% efficient form of nitrogen because it's all in the roots.
Exactly. Exactly. And then with the increase in the humus per acre, the biological carbon, I mean, that's just a sponge. That's a storage tank for a lot of other nutrients and elements and more beneficial, you know, population. So the holding
Hmm.
capability went through the roof. Now here's one important key that I really uh, I wasn't expecting this, but there was a 29.5% reduction in soil salinity in the living water field. A 29.5 reduction. That's a
That
game
that
changer.
one,
Yeah.
yeah,
That
that one I need to think about. But I'm I've got some things on the edge of my consciousness here about that. But okay, interesting.
yeah, yeah. So in agriculture and farming, a lot of times it's the salt levels and that salinity in the soil that really interferes with a lot of the inputs they can apply to their crops because they're sensitive about the salt levels. Um, some fields have salty water, of course, that they irrigate with, and it compounds in the soil over time. So just that key factor, reduction in soil salinity, and the amount of carbon that's back in the soil, I think we're going in the right direction.
I think so. This is so. How long was the trial? Was it for a whole season?
It was for one growing season. Yep,
One growing season.
yep.
Think how much it's improved just in one season. And the nice thing about the biology and with especially with the carbon and some of the other things you're talking about with the humus is that next year you already have a base. You know, a lot of that's not going to be, you're not starting over from scratch. It's going to get better in my
Hmm.
opinion, my prediction. It'll get better the second year and maybe better again the third.
Absolutely, and we're seeing that. So this is from springtime to springtime. And what's very interesting is some of the labs, when you do regular soil testing, they'll give you a recommendation of nutrients to apply per acre.
Hmm.
Okay. So it turns out our our inputs, our recommended inputs to put on for the upcoming crop year was reduced by over 50% according to their recommendations. 50%.
There you go. Yeah, that you're getting the right combo, obviously. Um, I remember it was quite a few years ago. I think it was 2012 or something, like 10 years ago or more. Um, Michigan State University won a grand prize from Popular Science magazine for green technology advances because they put together a microbial blend that reduced the nitrogen use by 50%. They won grand prize popular science. And then I thought, well, this is going to be a game changer. But what's the delivery system? How, yeah, okay, great. We know it works. We've seen it. I mean, it's been proven in universities, studies, but how do we maintain that and do it in an economically sustainable way? So anyway, yeah, so that it surprises me when I hear that 50% reduction, but it doesn't really surprise me because we
Mhm.
have because of the efficiency, all these things working together with the microbes. That carbon is going to maybe it's even the increased carbon and humus or humus. Maybe that is what's helping to buffer the salt too.
Mm-hmm.
Could be. And if you buffer the salt, that just means there's more availability of everything else that the plant
Mm-hmm.
needs.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah,
Exactly.
this
Yeah.
excites me, Brad, and this kind of stuff because I see it's not just cause and effect. It's the cycle of life that we're tapping into, and that's the power of life on this planet is the cycle.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Exactly. And one thing that's interesting too is we don't want our customer to just take a soil test and look at their recommendations for inputs and reduce them by 50%. We don't want to do that. We're telling them, let's start with 20%. Let's
Yep.
cover the bases. You know, we've been doing, crop production for a long time. Let's don't fall off the cliff yet. Let's let's cut them back 20 to 25% and go there. In the meantime, we'll keep doing the biological program. And just like you said, see if we can keep compounding on some of these results. Um, One thing that's very interesting is so our biological pounds per acre, it's 1,316. And compared to one of our test fields, their biological carbon per acre was 462. And so it's such a
More than
huge
double.
increase from our control to the check, the test to the check field. So there's a lot of data to sort out that I think we can keep compounding on, but I'd love to share this with you and just get your insight as well.
Sure. Yeah, I like to study things in more detail, especially when they're doing field reports like that, because
Mhm.
sometimes when you see the all of it, and be able to go over the data, you can see connections or your things
Mhm.
that are more relative. And maybe it makes you ask a few questions, and then you go, oh, this is happening because of that. Maybe this is happening because of that. But and then maybe down the road how to steer it a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I feel like we're just kind of building the road now, like you said, and
Mhm.
where we need to curve or go up or go down or something, we kind of fine tune that path. Another interesting point is we had some crop data, and when a customer is growing a feed crop, they get a feed analysis test based on it, whether it's going to be fed to horses or livestock or so on and so forth. But
Mhm.
um, I'd like to increase this. A lot of our bricks came in between, our sugar content came in between 10 and 11 on the final value of feed, which is not bad. It's not bad.
No,
But compared
that's pretty
compared
good.
to the other ones, they were between 6 and 8. So that's quite an increase in bricks. I think we can take that, we can fine tune some nutrient applications and get that bricks, up to where we want. But we're close. So that was good to see as
Sure.
well.
That's nice. Yeah, that's good. 'Cause, 10 on 10 or 11, that's almost ideal. But
Hmm.
it doesn't even matter if it's ideal. It's already so much better than without. That's going to have more nutritional value
And it
for
shows.
the animals.
It
Yeah.
does, and it shows up in the final feed analysis of it, and it does show that it's a higher quality.
Yeah. Yeah, we found out when just in hydroponics, and this is without all the other pieces that we're talking about, just with hydroponics and dialing in the minerals and trace elements just right, that if they could grow in animal feed, in 100-foot trailers or 50-foot trailers, but the quality was higher than alfalfa, one of the grasses that they were growing, and it had an effect on the butter or the fat content of the milk. It
Hmm.
increased by 15-20%, and that's money for the farmer because they get paid by the quality of the milk. So yeah, we sometimes we forget about the economic value, not just the nutritional value, but that's money in the farmer's pocket. and also
Absolutely.
saving labor. You could go on and on about the other cost savings, but you're increasing the value of your product as well. So
Exactly. Exactly. That's interesting concept. Were you involved with that?
no, that was before me, but what was it? It was a 50-foot trailer, 10 feet by 10 feet tall, and 50 feet deep, and they were able to produce a ton a day,
Wow.
every day, 365 days a year. And then they were
Wow.
feeding the fresh grasses because it only took, with hydroponics, it only took like 10, less than 10 days to grow it up. I think it was like 7 days. So they were feeding it roots on. So like the hopper was here, putting in the seed, going down the line, coming out with bins of fresh feed to feed the animals. So it was just in time manufacturing of the feed. It wasn't grow the big field, harvest it, store it, move it again someplace else, and then feed it to the animal. It was just here's your 10-foot trailer, or here's your 10-foot wide trailer. Here's the feed for today. Here's the feed for. It was like eating highly nutritious fresh grasses and grass
Okay.
fed. Yeah, and they were
Absolutely.
using.
Absolutely. And it's sprouted. They've sprouted the
Yeah,
seed. So roots,
yeah.
the sprouts, everything going right into the system. Oh yeah, that's dynamite. I've seen uh, a farm do that before. They had big storage containers, like shipping containers set up and sprouting the seed. I'm sure that's like what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's on levels. It's vertical, but
Hmm.
yeah, and it started out mainly in Australia because they had a lot of drought. They had years of drought going on at that time, and they had to come up with an alternative. So they tried that hydroponic feed growing system, and they implemented it. They said, "Well, this is it. This is the answer." And now I see it in other countries too, like in the Netherlands. Of course, they're so familiar with hydroponics; it's they can mix up their own nutrients for pennies. But yeah, there was a big increase there, and solve the problem at the same time.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity um, out there as we refine this and keep getting more data in. And so, uh, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm all smiles. I want to keep moving forward.
Yeah. Hey, as far as that feed system, that reminded me, I had another idea to make it more of a closed loop. 'Cause I thought, yeah, we have the feed in, animals are getting healthier, but then you have all the manure, right? So then I thought the other thing was, why not have some kind of a conveyor belt system to move the manure from the stalls to to a pit where you could make methane gas. That's with microbes, they're anaerobic, they're the methanogens. Produce methane. You could produce enough methane to produce heat and electricity to run your feed station and probably power the ranches, not just there, but around in the surrounding community. And
Yeah, absolutely.
you'd have less waste problems too and runoffs. So some of that waste, instead of having to collect it and then put it back on the field, and at least in part of that efficient system, it can be converted into heat and electricity. I mean, that's beautiful. That's nature's system is recycling the waste as well as producing the freshest, most nutritious food. I don't know anybody
Absolutely.
that's doing that yet, but maybe in the future, in some areas where you need to be intensive in your production, but you want healthy, well-fed, healthy animals that are getting to eat fresh grass at its best. And the grass wasn't just grass. They were using, I think it was corn, and then they sprouted and growing maybe 7 inches tall. You know, so it
Right.
wasn't like a pasture, but it was
Right.
more nutritious than alfalfa.
Right.
Go figure. You can grow corn sprouts that are more nutritious than alfalfa.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. The one
Yeah,
I seen was actually doing it with barley, like feed barley, sprouting and
yeah,
feeding the barley. So same concept.
sure, sure. That would be easy.
Same
And the
concept.
sprouts, and if they're only sprouted and growing a little bit, there's still a lot of stored energy in them,
Exactly.
in the sprouts that the plant hasn't burned up to grow and finish its life cycle. Okay, well,
Exactly.
it's either here nor there, but back to your living water. Um,
Okay. Yeah, let me finish this story. So, last week, uh, me and my wife, we drove to Nevada and we set up two living water systems on an alfalfa grower's fields that live right next to the California border, so on the Nevada-California border. And what makes this unique is his alfalfa fields are a mile and a half away from the hay processing center, where they take the alfalfa and make pellets or cubes. So
mhm,
all of his harvest will be tested dang near immediately after harvest
right.
before they go dry it out and make the cubes or the feed pellets. So I'll be able to collect a lot of data, real time data on the feed value or nutrient value of the crop, probably 6 times this year. So I'll get those reports where we set up the living water tanks, the living water agriculture tanks on these two fields. When they harvest it, I'll be able to collect some data within a couple of weeks. So I'm very excited to see the improvement. Hope to see the improvement.
Okay,
Yeah,
sounds good.
yeah. So I'm gonna have a lot of data to share with you.
That's a you're getting off to a pretty strong head start on this one.
Yeah,
Really, I mean, it's so promising.
yeah.
Anybody that sees the data, are they're going to say, well, it's worth a try,
Oh yeah,
especially for the
absolutely.
price. And so that's a really good start for your business plan. You have some real data too, not just, well, there's a concept here that I think it'll work. No, it's working, and we know why, and it's going to work. Um, and I think too, this is something else from what you said about the salinity, that
Mhm.
it the difference between the control and the living water is going to be greater difference in a little bit more infertile or in the poorer soils.
Exactly. Exactly. And as we refine this process, we want to get little kits available for the smaller gardener or the smaller farm, or possibly even some of the indoor greenhouse, hydroponic type settings. That's uh that's where we're going to have to work together to dial that in.
Yeah, looking forward to that. That's I've been thinking about that all week since our last week. Trying to when we should schedule a time very soon that we can talk about some of your plans and ideas and see if we can come up with something that'll take this to I'm not going to say the next level. I think it's the level that we're on is just to expand on that and be able to formalize some of the results that we're getting or you're getting.
Exactly.
See, I'm already saying we.
Good. I like.
I ended up doing
Finally.
that for a while. So find the results that we're getting. No, that you're.
No, no,
I
no,
haven't
no.
gotten
That's
the
it.
results. You're the one that did it.
Hey, you've helped me a lot in all this stuff, and so yeah, let's schedule another day. We can reconvene and just get um, talk more freely and openly on
Right.
some of these other topics. So
Some
and
do some business. We'll do some business.
there you go, there you go. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share with you today. I was real excited to come up
Yep.
to speed, and I'm looking forward to where this can lead.
Okay. Well, perfect. New project, Living Water Part 2. Okay,
There
it's
we go.
about time for us to finish up anyway, so that's a good note to finish on. And
Okay.
look forward to seeing you next week and talking to you in between.
Okay, you bet.
Okay,
Same here.
see you later, Brandon.
See ya.